What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down how the market is looking so far and some very important developments and how things are looking as time progresses. But before I break things down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends tomorrow, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. So, looking at SPY, we got a nice break to the upside for today. I warned everyone that there could be a little drop before we get this bounce. I was worried we could come down to try to fill this gap down to like the 411s. And then we could see a bounce after that, but instead it managed to hold up quite nicely above the 412s, and we saw buyers just step in as we were very choppy. So we saw lots of sideways price action for a couple of hours, and the market just got a nice bounce. And we just so happen to have a nice inverse head and shoulders structure on SPY. And that could bring this thing all the way up to 417 very soon. The market is looking more bullish on many different time frames. And we have a very nice looking daily candlestick that's potentially developing. So it depends on how we close. We're not really done just yet. We have another hour left. But this candlestick does look bullish on the daily time frame. And this could lead to even more upside as time goes on. Now, on the weekly, this is also looking quite good because this is shifting in the direction of a trend reversal, and 409 could be the bottom for the market for this period, for the quarter. And we're likely going to see more upside as long as this market holds up, especially for this next week. It's going to be a very important week since we have like Apple's earnings and the FOMC meeting. So it's going to be very important to watch these levels. But now let's break down some levels on SPY. What are we going to be watching for as time goes on? So watch this 416 resistance right here. If we manage to break this and keep going, because the trend has been to the upside, we're seeing our direction continuing to shift, and we're seeing the buyers defending. We're also starting to see a lot of call buying. That's more than before if you look at the current order flows that are developing. And we're starting to see buyers stepping in. So the buyers developing, if we break this 416 resistance, there's some resistance at these tight levels like 416.5. If we break that, I could see this thing going all the way up to about 417.3, which is where we have that wick. If we break that, I mean, 418 plus is a real possibility. But for now, we're starting to fight very close to this 416 level. If we break down, watch this key support, critical support at 415. If we lose this, watch the next level at 414.5. And if that fails us, watch 413.3 as key supports. As of right now, it's favoring the bulls as we're seeing the buyers stepping in. Once again, I warned everyone that the market could drop it and get a nice bounce. We did drop a little bit, but it wasn't really to the same extent I was thinking, but it still came right back up, and the buyers are still defending. So as we approach November, I am anticipating more upside for the markets. I want to see SPY break 420 soon. However, we have to wait and see what happens with FOMC on Wednesday. But as of right now, the charts are looking quite nice. Now for Tesla, I want to call out something very important. Tesla is still looking relatively weak, especially if you look at the weekly is still looking very weak. We're actually testing our 200 EMA on the weekly, so we're at some key support right here. We'll see if Tesla could hold in this 195 zone. And then looking at the daily chart, you can see Tesla is still looking very weak at the same time. There's no true sign of a bounce just yet. So we're going to be watching this very carefully over the next couple of days. But right now on an intraday basis, we're seeing Tesla trying to base right here at this 194 area. And it's trying to just trade sideways right here in this range, not really moving too much. So we're going to be watching 194.6 as support, 195 as another support, and for resistance, watch 198. If it gets above that, watch 200. As of right now, we're going back and forth, not really doing a whole lot, but Tesla still looks weak on the bigger time frames, so I'd still be very careful with it. And we're going to be watching to see when buyers step in again. Now, if there's a big bounce in the markets thanks to the Fed and etc., this could help Tesla bounce too, especially going into the next week or in the next couple of days. So we're going to be watching all of that very carefully too. It's going to be a big factor for Tesla. For Aapl, the 30-minute time frame is showing a nice uptrend. We have a potential wedge developing, but we're going to be testing the 30 minutes 200 EMA as a key resistance. So watch this 170.6 area. If we break it, watch 171, and then we have 172 above that. Now, if we break down, you're going to be watching 170.19, which is the 5 EMA. If we lose that, watch it come down towards 169.5, then 169 below that. And if we lose the 50 EMA, then watch 168 below that. But as of right now, we're trying to hold up. When we look at Aapl, you will notice that Aapl is not looking, Aapl is not looking too bad. It's trying to uptrend approaching its earnings, and Apple's earnings is going to be very telling as time goes on. We called out this channel from yesterday. You guys can see this. And so far, it's still holding up. So Apple's in this channel. So we're going to be watching to see if there's any breaks. As of right now, it's slowly uptrending. On Nvda, we're going to be watching some very, very key resistance levels. Nvidia came down as we suspected. I was talking about a little drop towards this gap area. So right here towards 405. And I said buyers could step in right here. That's where they came. And we saw this thing launch right back up. Now we're testing our resistance right here, or very close to this 414 area. That's where we have this previous wick right here, or previous resistance. If we break 414, you're going to be watching this 416 area next. That's where we have even more resistance. But for now, Nvidia is still on a nice accumulation structure. This could be forming a nice like double bottom, inverse head and shoulders. There could be more upside coming. So it's starting to look a bit more bullish as we're starting to establish a higher low on the chart. And the chart is starting to uptrend a bit. So watch that resistance, and key support to watch for is going to be around this 409 to 407 area. There's also some support at 410. So watch those levels carefully. As of right now, Nvidia is holding up decently. I think it's going to continue to hold up as time goes on. And right now, it's not looking too bad. For the QQQ, looking quite decent. This thing came down pretty hard. We were talking about this thing potentially dropping towards this gap fill. I was talking about it coming down towards this like 345 area, then bouncing. Instead, it came down to about 346.5, so a little bit short of what I was thinking. But it managed to come right back up as we suspected, and it's getting very close to 350. So if we break 350, watch this resistance trend line very close to this imbalance at 352. If we break that, watch 353.5 and then 355 above that. From a technical standpoint, it's looking more bullish. It definitely has potential. And I think that it's not looking bad whatsoever. Additionally, when you look at the daily charts on the QQQ, it's looking quite interesting because we managed to get back above our 200 EMA. I warned everyone that if we ended up, breaking below this would be a bad sign. Now we're trying to get above it, which is a good sign, and the bulls now have an edge. So watch resistance at the 5 EMA. If we break this, could continue to push up towards this next imbalance, and we're getting very close to that 356 area. If we manage to break and hold above 350, we could end up pushing even higher. There's quite a bit of room for this to push up higher if we hold 350, so watch that resistance very carefully for the week. And just know the market is still holding up. We're seeing buyers stepping in, and this is helping the QQQ. So the charts are starting to look more bullish, so watch these resistance levels. Know that Tesla has been looking relatively weak on the bigger time frames. It's trying to base, however, at 194. But we're going to be watching this very carefully for the next few days because there could still be more downside. It's looking kind of weak. But the Fed later on, the Fed is going to be coming. They could help Tesla bounce alongside the market. So we're going to be watching it very, very carefully later on for a bounce. All right. So right now, we're trading sideways on Tesla. Right now, it's downtrending on the bigger time frames, but a bounce could come later on thanks to the Fed. That's like the most simple way I could say it. All right. So thank you for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you guys very soon for the final video of the day, and peace out.